Hello, dear students, friends, viewers, and professionals. Welcome to Billion Hopes AI. This is your mentor, Sandy. Tokenmaxxing is our concern today. We want to see what exactly is this new term doing the rounds, tokenmaxxing, something which has actually spooked some of the biggest companies in the world. And hence, this is a topic worth examining in detail. And this is exactly what we are going to do. So be with me till the end of the session. You're going to learn a lot about a topic which has actually riled up various IT departments, chief AI officers, because giving an absolutely free access to all employees and asking them to do maximum possible on AI has led to a counter effect, which is tokenmaxxing. We are going to see that. Excited? Shall I begin? So very strange news started appearing in the global media, and the general thrust of the news was tokenmaxxing is maxing out. Various executives are now taking steps to rein in freewheeling AI use. No one would have thought about this just 6 months ago, but as AI coding took shape and the various models, especially from Anthropic or even Codex, etc., really came into being and started doing complex coding projects reasonably okay, 90-95% without human supervision, there was a sudden sense in the market that employees should be asked to do as much as possible. And so targets were set in terms of output. That was a freewheeling AI use. But the AI spending went through the roof and the companies were absolutely spooked. So let us see the definition of tokenmaxxing and whether this is an inherently bad idea or is there some basic management law operating behind it, and whether companies will cut down the AI thing completely or will there be some other way to look at it. So my dear friends, tokenmaxxing is the practice of aggressively maximizing AI token consumption. So the company tells you, go ahead and use AI as aggressively as possible, and we wish to see your maximum possible AI output. So that by itself sounds slightly shaky, and it looks that whether company should actually be doing it or what. Your prompts, outputs, agents, and model calls. And the underlying assumption here was that your productivity will be measured by the tokens that you consume. Of course, your AI adoption intensity as well, or engineering intensity. So the message being given to the employees and the staff of the giant companies which were handing out AI coding subscriptions to everyone, let's see how much you can code. So the employees were now coding for coding's sake, and that's actually a very, very bad idea. All this happened via leaderboard, budgets, incentives, and internal metrics. Fine. So this is tokenmaxxing, aggressively maximizing AI token consumption. In the initial phases of this AI coding boom, all this sounded very reasonable, rational, and fair enough. But now, in 2026, we now have reports which very clearly say that initially companies encouraging heavy AI use or token tracking as a sign of innovation are pulling back because the bills are running into several $million per month, spooking even some of the biggest companies. This has put a very big question mark over unhindered AI use in companies. We have major AI IPOs lined up: SpaceX and xAI, Anthropic, OpenAI. And in parallel, we have companies pulling back from unhindered AI use. So some golden mean has to be found in between. Let us first look at the token costing. Today, we are going to go deep into the technical side of the whole thing. So watch the whole thing very carefully. You will learn many, many new things, although you may be very good at it already. But I've tried to make the session very interesting for you. Naturally, token costing is always per million tokens. Here I have tried to list the top models: OpenAI, GPT 5.5, Claude Opus 4.8, Anthropic, Google Gemini 3.1 Pro Preview, xAI Grok 4.3, 5.4, Alibaba Qwen 3 Max, and DeepSeek. Now, Alibaba and DeepSeek naturally are some of the cheapest models on a per million token basis, and that changes the whole equation completely. So, my dear friends, two are from China. If you look at the input token costing, the cached input token costing, and the output token costing, your final costing is the sum total of these three. So whatever prompts you are giving, that and the entire context window that you consume initially in your giant prompt for a software project, for example, or the iterations that you do, that is only one part. What happens after that is the real game. This is all the more painful when you see agentic AI. The prompt may be small, but what the agents do ultimately adds up to an order of magnitude higher in terms of number of tokens compared to the initial number of tokens you consumed while prompting. Got it? So, for OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, generally you see pricing in the same benchmark zone. Got it? With XAI, it is lower. And with the Chinese models, it is just a fraction of it. That is the reason many people say that in the long run, for non-frontier AI applications, the Chinese models may actually whack the American model. See, how many of us actually need frontier AI use on a day-to-day basis? Very few. So 90 to 95% of regular enterprise use, I mean enterprises, because most of the token consumption will happen there, not at an individual level. Most of those 90-95% enterprises actually use it for regular business processes. So you don't need, truly speaking, a bleeding edge frontier AI model, do you? You don't. Before I move on, I invite you to please check out this beautiful course, AI Turbocharger. 1 day full live AI learning. You can join us from any part of the world. On 13th of June morning, 8 a.m. onwards, I'll be conducting 12 sessions of 1 hour each live with a lot of practical emphasis, lot of agentic AI and stuff. Check out our website, turbocharger.billionhopes.ai. It is linked below in the comment. See the course features. I'm sure you'll be thrilled seeing the entire structure of the course, and go ahead and enroll straight away. You can apply a benefit code there, Turbo10. I hope it helps you. Go ahead, apply it, get enrolled. On 3rd June evening, this incentive code of Turbo10 will expire. So please apply it right now. This is a wonderful course. And if you're just making a start in AI, this is where you should be making that start. So I will await your presence on 13th. A great journey awaits. So what was the negative news? Microsoft Claude Code license pulled back in May 2026 because they said that the costs were rather surprising. With Uber, Claude Code budget exhausted in just 4 months annual budget. Amazon, the Kiro Rank AI usage leaderboard was shut down. Internal AI usage leaderboard, which is the Kiro Rank, because AI agents were used for unnecessary tasks. And the staff was not really aligned with it, and the company was losing millions in that. And news also came about an unnamed enterprise that did a 500 million billing of Claude in 1 month. So that's a disaster, an absolute disaster. Very clearly, coding AI is not something you really want to do unless you have a very clear alignment goal. These companies are thrusting AI on their staff, assuming that magical output will automatically happen, but that doesn't happen. So before we move on, I think it's a good time to take a look at what exactly are LLM tokens. I know you know about it, but still we should spend a couple of minutes seeing that, because the session will become holistic, complete. You know very well that everything the LLMs do, they turn it into a token, a small piece of text that an AI model will read or write. It can be a whole word or a part of a word. Usually 10 words would be 13 tokens, 1000 words would be 1300 tokens. That is the rough benchmark. And this is how it works. And where are tokens used? Everywhere. Input, output, system, conversion, context, tool agent, code, multimodal. Everywhere. And context window, as we know very well, total number of the model can see at one time. So it could be a 1 million token context window and so on. This is what we read, right? Every model gives you a maximum context window. There may be output token limits, long prompts reduce room for long answers, etc. And how token costing works. I have shown you the costing initially, so you can keep reading this. You can pause it and read it carefully and get a very good idea. So why do tokens matter? See, tokens matter because they cost, nothing is free. Secondly, if it is too bulky, the speed of response and even the quality may go down. Context: which model can remember how much logically before straying off into the random woods? And quality. So this is how tokens work. So tokens are the billing and the memory units. LLM will never read the full sentence. It will mechanically take the text input, throw it into a tokenizer, convert it into tokens, and do the LLM processing. And a rough guide is 1000 words is equal to 1300 tokens. Remember that. Number of words plus word complexity plus punctuation plus spaces plus formatting. So let us say this sample sentence: internationalization and tokenization help multilingual systems understand complex instructions efficiently. Normally, you may have 13 tokens out of it. The internationalization word might get truncated here. Every LLM will have its own way of doing it, but broadly 10 will turn into 13. Tokenmaxxing is all about companies telling the staff, go ahead, max yourself out. And this is how the thing will work in the backend. Many people using it from the front end will have no idea of what's happening at the backend. But remember, the token count will vary by the AI model, the tokenized system being used, and the specific language. In India, we have had new AI models like Sarvam and all, which have often spoken about a moat being token efficiency. They always say, and which is also partly true, that the Western frontier models, they treat a lot of Indic languages with a lot of inefficiency. They turn it into too many tokens per word. So they have tried to reduce the token and they call it token fertility. That with each token, we are capturing more of the word and alphabets in Indic languages given. So that is a true algorithmic improvement, which is good. So this is Tokenmaxxing. There's a lot of technical stuff here which you can take your time to read. Now remember that tokens are compute cost units. They are not productivity units. Tokenmaxxing by itself does not make you productive. That is the key point here. And token volume. So between two employees A and B, if B did 3x of A in terms of token volumes, it only means that there was a lot of model activity by B, not necessarily correctness or usefulness or business value. Got it? Now we come to a very interesting thing, Goodhart's law problem. What happens in the Goodhart's law problem is the measure itself has become the target, and so it ceases to be a good measure. Isn't that a beautiful thing to say? Once your chief AI officer tells you, or your chief technology officer, or any CXO tells you, I'm going to measure you by tokens consumed. So you game it. You start doing nonsensical things or half-rational things to just maximize your token output. Longer prompts when shorter would have done. Excessive agent loops when simple loops would do. Unnecessary context stuffing. Repeated regeneration. Parallel AI sessions. Why? Because your boss told you, I'm going to measure you by the tokens used. So that's a very foolish way of bossing around. This is called token inflation. Very bad idea. And once you do token inflation, this is where you reach. Even if you're a giant Fortune 500 company, eventually the budgets will hit you. And several $1 million per month is not something anyone will be able to afford with this. So in Goodhart's law, with AI token maxing problem, a measure becoming a target ceases to be a good measure. Keep that in mind. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And Goodhart's law applies even to healthcare, sales. So, I mean, in healthcare, if the doctor is going to be measured, the quality of doctor's service is going to be measured by how many discharges happen. Many people are going to be discharged without fully recovering, isn't it? So, this is a problem with Goodhart's law. The measure becomes the target. And staff is not to be blamed because ultimately they are being measured. They'll be looking out for themselves. Context windows are not free memory. If you have very large context windows, the team will paste more documents, code, log, and tool inputs, but tool outputs into the prompt. But long context will inevitably raise the cost, slow down the LLM response, and the reliability is always under a cloud. So now token optimization is the key. You have to really decide what not to include rather than what all can I include. So if say somebody gives you a 5 million token window, you should not run amok. In fact, you should be questioning, will just 100,000 token in the context window do? If yes, don't at all consume the remaining. Latency scales with token pressure. If you put more and more tokens, the latency will naturally rise. So token maxing has this huge downside. However, a real crisis that companies actually face leading to pulling out is agentic workflows. Agents simply 10x or 100x the token cost, starting from the initial human prompt. Multi-agent system, coding agent, planning loop, tool calls, retries, test generation cycles, self-critique chains, they produce large hidden token costs. And a single user visible answer in the backend may have so many model calls that the final token cost is invisible and then it suddenly strikes you very, very hard. Token maxing actually worsens code bases. We have all heard about technical debt, how AI coding leaves technical debt which will remain invisible to non-coders, non-expert coders. Others will see, expert coders will see, non-expert coders will hardly see it. And over a period of time, the technical debt will be so huge, no one will be able to tackle it and you need to start afresh. So if you give the target of token maxing, this is what we are talking about, they will encourage more and more code, shallow review, duplicated logic, over-engineered abstractions, and weak ownership, which is a very, very bad way of running enterprise ERP. So with agents, the initial human prompt plan a marketing campaign and complex goals are given. And suppose it was 100 input tokens. The moment it goes through the complete agentic loop, the final output token could be more than 50,000. So this is the compounding multiplier effect. And unless you go through this shock once, you may not even know that this is going to hit you. And when it does, it's going to be an absolute shocker. So we are talking about token optimization now. This is going to be a huge career option. In fact, there will be people, specialists who will be recruited just for helping companies with token optimization trainings. And actually the entire ML ops thing where you put token maxing as a key responsibility area. So token reduction is not just a simple prompt shortening that, okay, from tomorrow everyone is going to write short prompts. There are many more things to be done: pruning, compression, routing, schema distillation, and output constraints. It's not just shortening. So this is a whole science by itself. And the better metric for a CXO, suppose you are a CXO of a company and you are a non-technical guy, you don't understand AI. At least you can understand one thing. You can always say, I'm looking at outcome per token. That suddenly changes everything. So every staff member, every team member will be extremely cautious not to go very low on tokens, not to go extremely high, but better outcome per token. So that's how a mature AI organization will track useful output divided by token count. And various examples of that are listed here. Support resolution quality, latency, hallucination rate, blah, blah, blah. So I hope this helps you understand the direction in which this entire debate is now moving. So token maxing was very useful in January and February when the private and public markets, especially in America, needed to see whether enterprises are going into AI adoption or not. The stage 2 of that early adoption signal is the downside of using token maxing as a performance metric. By June 2026, no one is saying use more AI. The reasonable people are saying use AI with measurable efficiency. So I think 6 months down the line, we are going to have a next video on how good has been the outcome maxing thing and not token maxing. smaller prompts, smarter retrieval, semantic caching, context pruning, agent budget control, etc. So that's, as I said, a whole science and art in itself. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Your views, your comments are very, very important for us. Please do leave a comment. Do like this video, subscribe to our channel. There is a join button below the video. You should check out our level 2 and 3 wonderful sessions we have there. Go ahead and enroll at least in one of those levels and support the channel. Thank you. And as I said, if you're taking the first step in AI, then a very structured 12-hour live program on 13th June is your best bet. Go ahead and enroll straight away. The link for Turbocharger is given there. And these are our various levels. So thank you very much for being a patient audience. Tokenmaxxing. Amazing things happening. And now we are talking about output maxing. We'll come back and analyze this 3 to 4 months down the line with output maxing once again. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed. This is your mentor, Sandy, bringing AI for real impact.